textbooks written by great scholar called Chanakya. Arthasastra, Chanakya Niti, Chanakya Sutras. Not a single sentence of Chanakya's three textbooks have been proved as invalid, but everything in Chanakya's writings are valid. That's why they call him is a pragmatic philosopher. Very good word to say pragmatic, but how difficult it was for him to bring this kind of a validation. We practiced, tested till now is valid and guaranteed for another 5,000 years ahead is going to remain valid. Social science, human behavior remaining valid without unchanged. This was designed by Chanakya by something called argument techniques, which is more sharp than that of the mathematics, which is more convenient for the research purposes. These are the techniques they use those times. Reflective methods, research validation, bridging techniques to overcome non-codified documents, mapping methods, filtration research. These are the kind of researches that have been taken care of into the phase of the Maurya period. I have spent 15 years plus in doing the research. Now, out of which my sources are history, of course, archaeology, philosophy, economics, political science, diplomacy, travel write-ups, Oriental text, Oriental manuscripts in sequence order only. Travel write-ups are travel logs. People who have written a lot of things about India and its management system are starting from Megasthenes, Wang down to end is Marco Polo, Pliny, Ptolemy, all these great scholars who traveled across this. The person who told us being Gujarati, no, there was a great university in Gujarat called Pallavi University, is no one but Wang in his writings. Today, anything about Pallavi University, we are able to speak by the writings of Wang. So these great travelers which were preserved outside India are sources being taken to find out these management concepts. Puranas as sources were eliminated. Literature, drama, poetry to some extent were referred. And this is how finally we are reaching to this stage of Indian management system. Now let's look at Asoka the Great. Not interested? Or if you have something very specific to say, I'll give you the microphone. I'd like to take the chair to listen to you. If you wish to do that, welcome here on stage. Now if you look at, we are talking about today something called supply chain management, logistic management. Because to support our supply chain management, logistic management, we have emails, we have laptops, we have mobile phones, we have GPS for location, we have tracking system, and we can communicate with each one in any part of the world. This is what is the biggest communication mechanism that we have to support logistic and supply chain management. Today you make a simple courier, you get a consignment number and you can track your consignment at different places when it is reaching to the place where it is. This supply chain management that we have brought in today is, in the modern world, is borrowed from Asoka's empire management system. The logistic management and the supply chain management to the world was gifted is this empire, and this empire was our old empire. Mathematically computed, supported in its right form. Today the Indian Army's strength is 11.4 lakhs only. Today we have 137 crore people. That time India was simply 18 crore people in population and Asoka's army was 22 lakhs. And this was the army he used to maintain. The army all the time marched to the war field was fresh, energized. None of the soldiers in the army were allowed to march for more than 7 days. Here different garrison town towns in different places. He starts with the army strength of 10 lakhs, all the time 2 lakhs goes in, new fresh army joins at different garrison townships, every day this exchange happens. So the moment he is on a charge, means to attack any kingdom, is with 10 lakhs fresh, powered army to do. And this army used to have no difficulties in its food, supply, stay, transportation, anything else, because parallel to the army movement on the river, the navy system used to carry the total logistics. And the army was knowing very much early that we are going to have the camps there, and camps being established before the army reached to the place. Today that's not possible. Even by the finest armies of the world, including US. Second World War is the greatest example of this, because in the army we designed some kind of a food for the soldiers that if you don't get food at any point of time, keep 1 kilo with you, add some water, eat and survive for 7 days. And that's a popular brand today, and we consume this. Top Ramen is a noodle brand of Japan. If you read the packet of this was not a noodle brand, this was a food dry stuff designed for the army soldiers who are Japanese. And everyone is given 1 kilo's dry stuff. If you don't get food in the battlefield, if the supply line is missed out, that nothing airdropping can happen to support you, eat something, survive for 7 days. What was the battlefield food stuff similar to kind of top ramen in India? And today that's a popular eating item we eat, packed with starch. We make khichdi, we make bada out of it, and all that we consume in India. What is that food stuff is called? Every one of us consume that. Name me that. Which Indian army used to carry also 1 kilo at the time of anything. At the British period was Highland practice made in the factories. Do you need a clue? They are white in color, round in shape. Sadhana. 1 kilo is given to the soldiers, you consume it for 7 days by putting some water to survive at the condition of adversity in the battleground. Parallelly, if you look at this kind of foodstuffs were also designed, but at the time of Asokan army, never ever these kind of things were there. If I look into a supply chain management system, this is the model of Asoka's supply chain management, which is used by world over, and you all will be given a module to read, logistic and supply chain management. This kind of a model, it very clearly talks about that the supply chain moves from one field to another, and by the time it reaches to the final stage, it talks about reshaping philosophical heights, elimination of vices and virtues, and rules for greater social benefits. Today we have animal hospitals, we have veterinary surgeons, right? Today we see a bird is wounded, we take the bird to a veterinarian to get a treatment if you have human compassion. Lots of migration of birds are coming. Some birds are being caught by the net or by any means, people take it to consume also. Make a good meat and eat out of it. At the time of this empire, this cooperative management system, we had n number of hospitals for the animals and birds. Those days, people thinking about animals and birds and maintaining the hospitals. And second thing, if I'm maltreating the animals, people used to get penalized. Today, if you maltreat any animal, you will be not penalized. There is no law. If you kill an animal and you buy it, you will be not penalized even if you do it in a public field, not on the roads. you will be not penalized. But laws those days never used to pervade this. So you can imagine the kind of legal practices we had is top of its time. Zero failure and alternative mechanism for garrison township for finest supply chain management. Asoka had lost not a single war in his life. This is one side. How this kind of a process of his movement, and he was the person having the second biggest empire in the world so far the geographic territory is concerned. The number one belongs to whom? Who was the greatest emperor to have the largest geographical area under his empire lordship? Which was the biggest empire in the world? No, Greek was not the biggest. Mongol Empire of Genghis Khan is the right answer, was the biggest empire so the geographic territory is concerned. Again, if you read the Mongol Genghis Khan history till Kublai Khan, his grandson, this history is so horrified that you cannot imagine the ruthlessness of Mongolian army. There are lots of writings about Mongol history and different areas, the historical evidences. They used to attack a city, they used to slaughter all the human beings, including the baby, kids, women and men of that city. Absolutely no one left alive. That's the kind of ruthlessness the Mongolian army used to follow. But if you look at Asoka, it was the second biggest so far geographical territory is concerned. Demographically, by population, it was the biggest empire he ruled. That time India was stretching from a landmark of Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, quarter part of China, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, entire India, Bangladesh, Pakistan totally inside, even parts of Oman territory also, and all these things were in part of Indian territory, including many islands below. That was the empire he ruled. And those kingdoms who never thought of having a war with Asoka, he said, you have the independence to rule, but follow these regulations in your kingdom. If you do not, then it will be amalgamated to the Mauryan Empire. That's the war side or emperor side. But the finest thing is supply chain management. India at that time of Ashoka's period is known for the greatest exporter to the world. We are exporting the goods produced in India to the world, and we are exporting to more than 38 countries. The biggest buyer was Rome, Egypt, Iraq, and lot other civilization, including the Chinese civilization too from India. And at that time, the Indian trading community happens to be a qualified trading community. Today we are learning business management, BBA and MBA. Those days they had also colleges, universities teaching business management. But not like ours, the name, it used to be taught as business management and practice. Today we are not teaching practice, we are teaching business management. So you can look at the modules designed those days by their colleges and universities, business management and practice. Today we have taken out practice, because we can't dare to teach you the practice all the time, because we are not well equipped globally. Even Harvard Business School is Harvard Business School, is not Harvard Business School, Business and Practice School. If you look at, this is the difference, that time it used to be, and to be a trader, to be a merchant, for that purpose you need to go through a hell lot of a learning and need to acquire a master's degree before you step into this business. The moment you are qualified, the government itself at that time was giving you the money, investing on you to do trade. People used to invest on your ships and everything like equity holders, stakeholders. Banks those days used to be called yields. Guilds means nothing but an advanced banking system. Guilds used to give you loan. And if you look at this guild management or bank management those days, the loan to the traders used to be at 2% interest per year. Today, none of the banks in the world gives you at 2% interest per year. Rather, many places will find loans at 2% per month. Private loan hand loans, and many of the banks also today or small banking organizations lends you loan 2% per month. Those days 2% per year. That means you can understand the inflation at that time, market rate fluctuations used to be so stable. And that kind of a system of economy very clearly defines how great or how good was this. If I look roughly, this was the Asokan Empire. But if you look below at the bottom, some of the places are not marked because they had adopted the Mauryan management system at that time. Now let's get back to some of the great practices of that time. It's called economics of public life, commerce and trade-based support system. Today, what is the monthly income of a daily wage laborer in India? Daily wage laborer in India, monthly income, unskilled. $6,000 to $9,000 agreeable, right? If I calculate the daily wage of an unskilled laborer at this period of Asoka, can you imagine how much it could have been? 60,000